All right, so welcome back to Breaking Dawn, people. We're just about 6:33, and we are Thursday morning, and every Thursday morning at around this time, we have Mr. Ramkumar Narinesingh with us. He's an industrial relations consultant and, well, slash specialist, if I might say. And we'll give you his contact information for those of you who'd like to contact him after the program this morning. But I want to say good morning to him because this morning we have another discussion. We started off last week with the most important person in the workplace, and here we are, week number 2, and we're going to chat about facing the job market and employment flexi-security. I have no idea what that is, but I'm going to be educated this morning. So good morning to Mr. Narinesingh. How are you going, man? You good?
Good, man.
Nice, man. All right, so let's get things started because I know that we saw thousands of people show up. I don't know how many of them were Trinidadians, how many of them were Venezuelans, how many of them was... But thousands of people showed up for jobs being offered by Royal Caribbean Group International Cruise Line, which caught the attention of the general public. But we want to chat about facing the job market. That's the first thing we want to talk about, because considering what we saw at Napa and Sapa yesterday, obviously the employment market, well, or the unemployment market is flourishing. Let me put it that way, if I can term it like that.
Well,
so go ahead, facing the job market. Let's go.
Well, first off, Trinidad and Tobago, good morning. And as we continue this conversation on the issue of productivity, the issue, Stefan, of what's really happening in the country as it relates to employment, as it relates to opportunities for persons in this country to earn their living, to earn their keep. One of the things that there are a number of ways, Stefan, that we can look at what has happened at in this job opportunity presented by this international country. One, it could be that this is a real indication of what's going on in the job market, unemployment, the numbers as it relates to unemployment. Or it could be that most of these people might be employed, but they're not very comfortable, or they are uncertain about their current employment status.
Right.
Given the fact that over the last decade in this country, the country has seen a lot of retrenchments, layoffs, companies have closed, right? And people may be now considering that, well, the grass might be greener on the other side.
On the other side.
Yeah. And as we were talking about earlier, before we came on set, one of the things, Stefan, is that just consider the statistics as it relates to how many of you all are applying for visas, the dates that you have to wait for to get a US visa now. That can give you an indication as to what's really going on in terms of that attempt to migrate for greener pastures. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, we face a dilemma in this country that started a long, long time ago. What has happened is that at some point somewhere, somebody or some persons sold to our population that being permanent in a job, going to school, study hard, get a job, and work till retirement was something that you could look forward to into perpetuity. And that is an ideology that has been passed down for generations. And it is one of the single biggest reason why we now have a population that is not prepared for the level of change that's taking place in this country, for the level of development that has come as a result of globalization, as a result of technological advancements and the implementation of same in the work environment. What we have, Stefan, is that people have, their perception is that they're going to be guaranteed this job, and they're going to be doing this job, whatever their job is, for the next 30 or 40 years until they retire. Now, what I want to talk to you all about this morning, what I want to give an explanation about, is something that the ILO has provided to, as far as I'm aware, for sure the unions, because I was present when ILO explained this concept to us.
Right.
I do not know if it was ever presented to the government, but I am here today and I'm going to explain it. The concept, the term is employment flex-security, or flex-security, employment flex-security. And what it is defined as is a person having an ability to function in multiple areas of a company's operation, or having multiple skill sets. Now, if you think about this for a moment, you have people who go to school and they study to be, let's just say, an accountant, or maybe an administration professional, somebody who studied to be an engineer, somebody studied, all these different job titles, right? And what they have some basic soft skills that can be applied in other areas of a company's operation, but they don't really have any other skill that they can fall back on in the event that their functionality in a workplace becomes redundant. And we've seen that happen a lot in this country. When you look at what's happening in TSTT, these people have been working there for decades, and now they're facing a job market that they are 30 years behind on. They're facing job opportunities that they cannot get into because they have existed in an environment that has been functioning one way, or they've been doing a specific job for decades. And unfortunately, when the opportunity was there for discussions of the possibility of both the company and the trade union fraternity working together to create training and development protocols that would give these people the soft skills to potentially to prepare them for a potential negative outcome, that never happened. All right? And one of the things ILO said to us, Stefan, in that conversation was that the unions needed to use the negotiation table to create the avenues for their workforce to be prepared, for their members to be prepared for a changing paradigm in the country.
Okay.
And that was 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, when we met with ILO. To date, you still see people taking jobs or going into workplaces, and their ideology is that I don't want to learn anything else. I want to do this when I'm paid for this. And if you try to include me or expose me to anything else, then you're now changing my terms and conditions, and that becomes an industrial relations nightmare. One of the things we've done, Stefan, in a lot of companies I work with, we have offered our employees the opportunity to be exposed. Now, mind you, a lot of people are going to think for a minute, well, then that creates the avenue for me to be doing two people work. The first thing, Stefan, is that we need to step away from the concept that it's possible for me now to physically function to fill the capacity of two persons. Okay. Right? Now, I have 8 hours in a day. Right? This is what I am responsible for, and this is what I'm doing. Some people have it in their mind that, well, if my functionality doesn't require me to work for 8 hours and I have 4 hours of work, then the employer shouldn't ask me to do anything for the other 4 hours. I should just sit and wait. And that happens. Some jobs, by its very nature, it's like that. Okay. But then most jobs in companies allows you the opportunity, if I am part of that process that we talked about last week, that process that starts at the beginning and brings you to the end, where the end result should be something that is tangible. I can now also take the opportunity where I am waiting for my relevance in the process to become enacted, or whatever lull time I have, to understand what my colleague is doing. Because it may very well come a day where my role may no longer be relevant to what's happening in the process, but my colleague role may need two persons. Okay. How often we've seen people, they can't do position B, position A no longer is relevant. The company retrenches them by virtue of the fact that the dynamics of the operations have changed, they're going into our workforce and the company is bringing in somebody brand new. Right? That happens quite
That happened
quite
right now.
often.
That happened right now. We were talking a little bit earlier about digitalization. In terms of that, there are people who have certain jobs and they're not computer friendly. So they're not up to date with technology. They don't seem to have any real urge to learn it because they already might be a certain age in a certain position in the company for a specific amount of time, and they're saying, boy, I don't need to learn that. I retired in 3 years, that kind of way. But you never know what coming to you before that 3 years that you retire. As we see with even the situation with TSTT. It could be something like that. You could be 3 years, 4 years away from retirement, and then they're looking at retrenchment. Now, there are other, when a company is downsizing, right? When a company is downsizing, because we had to talk about downsizing as well.
Yes.
When a company is downsizing, you know people going home. But the persons that are dynamic in approaching the job, in terms of learning 2 and 3 different skill sets, those are the people that really have that type of security. They're more likely to be kept than the ones who don't.
That's correct. And what you just said there in that single sentence is exactly what aligns itself with what employment security, Flexi-Security.
Flexi-Security.
Flexi-Security. It's the ability at the end of the day to, if and when it becomes necessary, to move yourself into another role.
From one position to the other.
Now, let's just, Trinidad and Tobago, let's just also consider this. A lot of us have a job, and you might laugh at this a little bit, Stefan. A lot of us have a job, and what I want to tell you, a job, the word job, can be 2 things for you. It can be a noun, a word that defines your ability to earn your income in a dignified manner so that you can support the progressive development of your personal life and your well-being. Don't hold me to that. That's my definition there. Don't go and Google it and then they come back, they call the show and say,
that meaning on Google, go ahead.
Or it can be an acronym for you. And job can mean just over broke.
Just over broke.
Yeah.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a lot of people in this country live there. Now, at the end of the day, we take so much of our personal time and we lime and we hang out or watch television, but we don't take the time to develop even one lateral skill to what we are currently doing as a professional. And I want to challenge you, all those of you out there who are working, all those of you all who think you have job security, think about developing a lateral skill. Why? Why can't you learn how to be a plumber? Why can't you learn how to be an electrician? Why can't you learn how to grow crops properly? Why? Because you have a job? Because you think you're permanent? Because you think that the company that you work for can guarantee you that job? But let me tell you this, guys. 99% of the businessmen in this country will tell you that every day they get up, they have to think about, I have bills to pay, the bank is going to call me, do we have markets, are we guaranteed that we're going to have this business tomorrow, do we have the productivity that will ensure that we are sustainable for going forward. They're worrying about all these things. They have no sense of permanency. Nothing is guaranteed. A customer could get up tomorrow and decide, I'm not buying from you no more. I'm not going to engage in your service anymore.
Revenue.
Yeah, it's just as simple as that. A competitor could come from nowhere and just take all your business. These things could happen. So somebody who has very almost no sense of permanency existing guarantees you permanency. You see how the paradox of it, right? So think about it. Nobody's saying go crazy and, oh my God, my job is not relevant. But you need to prepare yourself for a changing world. Now, I know we said we'll take some calls this morning. So do we have time still?
Yeah, we have time to take calls, man.
I think we should take some calls. Share your thoughts, guys.
Just on what Mr. Narinesingh is saying. I think the director falls into that category because you started off as a cameraman, right? A cameraman. So he started off a cameraman. Now I have seen many people come through these doors and okay, but as a cameraman.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Right? But he gone from cameraman to director, he work in audio, and he edited. So he learned nearly everything he could do in a television station. So,
Classic
I
example.
understand what you say there because he's a typical example sitting on the back there. He could have just said, well, listen, camera work is what I just do. I don't
That's
need to learn
correct.
audio. You know that kind of way? Now, let's just say the company was to lose significant revenue and we had to downsize and that kind of thing. And he had to go get a job and they said, well, we have no room we have enough cameramen. But we need somebody in audio. You're like, well, I don't do audio. But all right, well, they don't start at the back of the line because there are people who qualified. You understand?
That's correct.
Whereas he could probably apply for, not probably, he could apply for probably any job within
In the industry,
in the
any
studio,
job.
any job, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's broadened his scope, of opportunities, and adjusted himself. So 2355325, we're taking some calls here. We're dealing with industrial relations matters and of course job, employment,
Flexi-Security.
security.
Just Flexi-Security.
Flexi-Security.
Yeah, Flexi-Security.
So employment, Flexi-Security, this ever-moving market that we have, we see it taking place at Napa and Sapa where all these people showed up looking for jobs on cruise ships. And, what are your thoughts in terms of the job market in Trinidad and Tobago? If you have a business, Mr. Narinesingh is perfect in trying to assist you in improving a lot of things within your business. So 2355325 is the number to call and the phone lines are open. All right? He was talking a little bit just before we take, just as we wait on the first call. You were talking a little while ago about the hours that we work, like shift systems with in terms of the public sector. Why isn't license office open on a Saturday?
Yeah.
And you were telling me, you said you have people on the road now more than before. So we don't have, the roads are never dead at any particular time. Hello, good morning. You always have people moving up.
Hey, Stefan, morning.
Good morning.
Here.
Hello?
In my world, I have my company. And I've been training my guys and them to do exactly what Mr. Narinesingh was saying this morning. But you see, employees doesn't want to listen. They doesn't want to take the opportunity when somebody is training them. They have a negative that they only have one job. And what they do, there's one skill, they will never change. But what he's saying is right. It's correct. I would like to invite him to my business one day to talk to some of these guys.
But caller?
Thanks, man. Have a good morning.
Caller, hold on. Hello?
Yes, Stefan.
Yeah. You could just start over because I catch you a little late. You could start over with your comment.
All right. Stefan.
Yeah.
I have been training my employees to do the same thing that Mr. Narinesingh is talking about in the skill set.
Okay.
Don't have one skill. Always have something that they could depend on. I have the tools to train them, but as the negativity is going to say, here it is. I am doing two-man job. That's what they're thinking of. They're doing two-person jobs, so they need to get two salary. Yeah, you understand?
Right.
This is what we are faced with in Trinidad. Right? And you know me, Stefan? This is a barracky here, so I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a little while now, helping these guys and them in case something happened to my business and they go outside, they could always get a job and fully in our space.
Right.
They don't take that.
What type of business you have?
Central Nihan, brother.
What's that?
I think we lost. We didn't get it.
Central Nihan, Stefan.
Oh, Central Neon. All right. Central
Right,
Neon.
sure.
Right. Yeah, I recognize your voice
later.
for QA. All right.
All right, cool.
All right, cool. Yeah. So he's into signage.
Right. But let me provide some advice to that because I'll tell you, like I was saying, it is a typical argument that, well, if you train me to do another function in the company, you're going to ask me to do two-person jobs. Now, for the people who think like that, I want to ask you a question. When you come to work to deliver 8 hours of work, 8 hours, and let's just say that the agreement is for $200 a day. When you spend 8 hours in the workplace, if you were to get $199, you're going to argue. You may waive that the first time it happens, but when it happens the second time, you're going to say, listen, I made an agreement for $200 a day. Now, on the flip side, when the employer says, well, I have 8 hours of work offering to you, and my expectation is you're going to be working for 8 hours. If you look at what happens, you do a time and motion study on what happens in a workplace, you would recognize that on average, a typical employee would deliver actual work that's relevant to the operating protocols of the company and the end goal of the company, maybe like about 6 hours. And I'm being very, listen, I'm being very liberal here. Now hear this. People spend time on the phone, they yawn, they use, and all this is fine. In industrial relations, it is understood that people are not machines. It is fine, right? But with the 6 hours remaining now, sometimes the reality is, like the caller just now, he may not have, I don't know what some of the jobs might be in his role, but let's just say maybe you have a guy that's maybe in construction. He's not drilling holes all day. You might need somebody else to pull some pipes. You might need somebody, and what you're going to find is somebody says, well, that is not my role. Well, let me tell you this. What you learn in a workplace, no employer could take it from you. What you develop as your skill sets and what you become exposed to is yours. And you're supposed to deliver your service. Nobody owns you. You're delivering your service in exchange for a negotiated salary, right? But a lot of us, unfortunately, we've developed the mindset that I want to come to work and not work hard. I want to come to work and work hardly.
I'm taking another call. 235. Hello, good morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Yeah, gentlemen, I have a similar experience to the last caller. Where I was a supervisor in a government department. And I took it upon myself to learn everybody's job. So, but it was an accounts department. So down to the typist, I sat down with the typist one morning and she showed me how to do her job. So if an employee stayed home, I could do the job. My supervisor told me I was abdicating my responsibility. I shouldn't be doing the job for them in their absence. I should encourage them to learn their colleagues' jobs so that when an employee stays home, somebody else could. I, as the supervisor, shouldn't be doing it. So when I tried to do that, there was, as Mr. Narinesingh said, serious pushback. I ain't doing two people work. That is not my work. So I, as the supervisor, knew everybody's job, know how to do everybody's job. But my subordinates refused to learn their colleagues' job. So there's a serious pushback. We need to have a serious culture change to be able to be successful, to be able to encourage employees to expand their skill sets.
Right.
So in the event, as Stefan said earlier, in the event that people get sent home, you will be the last to get sent home.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, caller.
Well, even in the event that somebody can't show up for work at the last minute, you have somebody there who capable of doing the job, so the company still runs.
That's
business.
correct. Just to add quickly, for employers that are interested in developing that type of culture, the first thing you want to do before you just get up one morning and say to everybody, I need everybody to learn, develop a proper training and development plan. Outline the basics of each rule and have it established in a flow chart that you can comfortably present, even if it's on a single page. This is the flow process of our organization, and these are the relevant functions that become the priority as the process develops. And what you do is now you're able to now illustrate to your staff right? And appeal to their reasonability. Because I'll tell you something, some people appear to be ignorant and they may be difficult by virtue of their personality traits. But as employers, you have to set aside your personal feelings of that. Do not let that provoke you emotionally. Set it aside and stick to the plan of securing your business. Stephen, I think we're running out of time.
Now we can take one more
Okay.
call, man. 235-5325. We can take one more. We're talking about employment Flexi-Security. We take our final caller here. Hello, good morning.
Hi, morning, Stefan.
Morning, morning.
That young fella there,
Mr. Narinesingh.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Narinesingh, talking a lot of sense. I was just wondering, a few years ago, TSCT had an issue. When you're sending out people to repair the copper lines that people stealing, there's about 8 people going out to do that job. The driver, a man to hold the ladder, one to climb up the ladder, the technician. So after a while, they brought in some Filipinos. One man driving the vehicle, going to fix the same problem that about 8 PSCT workers used to do. He's going up, driver, ladderman, technician, doing everything. And all these PSCT workers just stick to one skill. And I think what he's saying today is so relevant that a lot of companies should grab on to his culture and go with it, because we live in a changing world.
Correct.
This is 2022. Things are changing and we have to change with the time. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much, caller.
thanks a lot. Yeah.
All right. Well, Stefan, I think this conversation is going to continue. It's a big thing. My goal, guys, at the end of the day, is to allow people to develop an understanding. Because when people are apprehensive, that is what is exploited in this country. The apprehension and the fear of the unknown. The apprehension and the fear that you may be advantaged or discriminated against or abused. But one of the things that we must recognize as employees, you can't, 8 hours cannot become 16 hours. You physically cannot end up doing two people's job.
Yeah.
You could only end up working for 8 hours, and at the end of the day, if the employer gives you a system and it does not end with the result that is expected, but you're following that system, it's not your fault. And on the flip side, guys, those of you who own companies, it is your responsibility to develop that system so that your staff members can have a clear and definitive understanding of how their role or how the rules in the organization are relevant to the success and sustainability of the business. And I think in the next episode, guys, we're going to go deeper into the understanding of an employee, why our employees are so apprehensive and concerned in our workplace. We're going to go deeper into it so that we can now we can work towards developing that culture that we are seeking.
Okay.
Yeah?
And for those of you who would like Mr. Narinesingh to, offer his services, because his services are on offer, you could also call him. His contact information, 471-8957. That is 471-8957. For those of you who have businesses and you want to improve the productivity side of your business, because we know a lot of people complain about that. Productivity is low. Productivity is low. Well, there is a reason why productivity is low, and a lot of what Mr. Narinesingh spoke about today, what he spoke about last week, a lot of the things that he's mentioning, or he will be mentioning in this segment, is geared towards that understanding between the employee and the employer in terms of taking the business from here, from level 1 to level 10.
That's correct.
All right, and improving the overall, the attitude of the worker within the workplace, and of course the employee understanding the employer, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So a lot of that improves your business, and everybody wants to improve your business. I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to improve their business. So 471-8957, 471-8957. And if you want to email him, but this is a real tricky email, eh? Or you have to pull out a pen and a pencil for this one, eh? It's on the screen?
On the screen, yeah.
Oh, it's on the screen. Oh, well, I can't. Okay, all right, cool. So, oh, it's on the screen. Oh, right. So you could take down the email on the screen. That's a real eyeline. That's a real.
Scissor G.
That's a real. Wait, that's
It's RN Scissor G.
RN Scissor G.
Scissor G. It's a real word. It is a real word. If Google it,
This
guys,
is a word.
It is a word. It means something.
RN Scissor G is a word.
The word Scissor G. RN is of course my initials.
Right.
Yes.
Scissor G is a word.
Scissor G is a word. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to wait for somebody to Google it, and next week when they call us, they'll give us a but
you will expand your employees' vocabulary as well. So I'll tell you what, thanks a lot. And don't forget, check him out, give him a call, and start working with Mr. Narinesingh today. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we have the principal of QRC and the vice president of QRC's PTA. They will join us because there is a particular event taking place this weekend, and it's geared towards gender-based violence. So we'll chat with them about that, find out about the event and their concerns about gender-based violence. So stay tuned, we'll be back after this.